In 2016, I was at a local Walmart in my old town, and I saw Magic the Gathering packs, and I was like, you know what? I haven't opened up packs in a while. Let's do it. So I bought some packs, went out to the car, opened them up, and I immediately got that feeling we all get when we open packs, just exhilarating, just, oh, it felt so good. Prior to that, I was out of the game for a little bit. I mean, off and on, but I was so busy. My young family, I just didn't have the money or the wherewithal. Coming out of the recession, I was working in the oil fields till 2014. So there was a lot of things that came into play with that. And I realized, man, I would love to get back into Magic the Gathering, but I don't have any friends that play anymore. And I was like, how can I get friends that might not want to spend that much money into the game, at least come over and play with me? And I did have some cards like vintage from way back then, but I thought maybe standard might be better for these people. So basically, this is what I came up with. Welcome to the channel, my pack cracking family. Clever Magic Trevor here on the Clever Magic Community YouTube channel, and today we're talking about 5 formats you probably never heard of. Now there's an article, and we're gonna just kind of read through it, that I found in 2016, like I mentioned in the intro, that was written in 2014. Let's go ahead and throw it up here. There it is, and let's go over it. This is written by Gavin Verhey, and he just kind of, the first part just says, hey, he was just looking for something different to do, you know, something that's fun. I'm not going to lie, some of these are perfect drinking, games. So the first one, it kind of says it all. We don't even really need to talk about it too much, but it's Pauper Commander. Pauper Commander. It's basically the same thing. Your commander has to be an uncommon, and basically it's just a pauper, and you know what, it's so much fun. It's a lot easier to build decks around because we all have so much bulk and stuff. I mean, that's the nice thing about pauper, is that you use all your bulk and whatnot, and so it gets you thinking in ways that you don't normally do. Like most people's commanders decks have a ton of top end cards, very expensive. This is not. You can easily get friends into it, donate cards to them because you probably don't care about all that extra bulk, and get them going, and just it's actually fun to build the decks and then get to playing. So that's the first one he goes over, Pauper Commander. Oh man, what a great concept to get people started with and involved. The next one, Perfect Pool. Perfect Pool is kind of interesting. I actually never got into it that much. It's basically choose 3 sets. You can actually choose the same set over and over. Like, so if you choose 3 sets to play from, you can do, when I have played it, we did it with blocks. So you had to have basically the blocks, the 3 sets. That way it's, Innistrad type of stuff, your vampires, your werewolves, you have the stuff to play. You get 1 rare, 3 different uncommons, and 10 different commons for each set you choose. The minimum deck size is 40, and the rest is in your sideboard, and you just kind of play that way. It's kind of fun if you've played even recently, where you have more standard type of cards. It can be like a standard type of play. This one, like I said, I haven't played that much, but when you read this article and you delve into it a little bit, there can actually be some pretty strong decks and there have been some strong decks that have come out of this format, just based on kind of delving more into the sets in and of themselves. Now, these two, these are the drinking games, for me at least. It's Cubelet and Windfall, and Windfall is a blast. Okay, let's get into Cubelet first, so you can kind of break it down. It was kind of started with a loading ready run, which most of us have all heard about. They come up with a lot of stuff, and they created Friday nights. Cubelet is like a cube, only you don't draft. So the cube, you have to set up the cube. It has specific cards, blah blah blah. You draft, and it's fun. It's super fun as long as somebody has a cube. Nobody needs to. You can invite people that don't normally play Magic the Gathering, and it's a blast. But Cubelet is even a little bit more interesting because there's one pre-made, preferably singleton 100 card deck. What is that? Hey, that could be a commander deck without the commander. That's in fact what I used. I had commander decks and I was trying to get friends involved to play. Well, what do you do with this 100 card deck? Well, you're both playing with it. You're both playing with it. Instead of playing a normal land on your turn, you play a land face down as a non-basic land that has tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You can do this or you don't have to, because if it's a commander deck, you can just use the mana already involved. It already has color for the set. If it's just a random kind of more 100 cards, just singleton cards, random 100 cards, then you can play this way, and that's kind of fun too. There's no mulligans, and you share the library with different graveyards, because if you have graveyard hate, you want to hate their graveyard, not your own. But basically, you put the deck right in the middle. You both draw from it. It's fantastic, and that's basically the essence of Cubelet. And I've had a lot of fun playing Cubelet. But even more fun, let's get down. It starts right down over here is Windfall, and you can play any card face down. It's the same thing as Cubelet, but a little bit more intense. You can play any card face down as a land that taps for any color of mana, just like Cubelet. I suggest going with 100 random cards on this one. You can use the same thing like a commander deck, whatever. You share off the same deck. You have your own graveyard, same type of thing. But it is so much fun, and I do suggest you get in some of those cards that are 12 mana to play and stuff that you don't always get to play. That sometimes you're using as a discard because because you're just not sure if you're gonna you drew it too early in the round. But this one is you can play any card face down as a land that taps for any color of mana, just like Cubelet. You may play any number of lands per turn. That's right. You draw 7 at first. You choose what you want to keep. Maybe the first time you want to be like, okay, I want to play this 4 mana one, so you throw down 4. Now you're stuck, with 2 cards left after you play the 4 land, whatever you decide to be land, plus the 1 card. However, each player draws 2 cards per turn instead of just 1. On the first turn, the starting player draws 1. That's that makes up the difference for who gets to start first. And Windfall is so fun, especially when you're drunk. Let me just tell you, I'm sorry, I don't drink that much, but when I was playing this in 2016, it was kind of instead of going to my LGS or whatever, I'd have my brother over or friends, and we'd play this, and it's so fun because you have to decide what you want to use as land and what you're going to be able to play. I ended up keeping most of my high mana cost ones in my hand ready to play because I would just try to ramp the best I could, and then play those like nutty cards that are so hard to play sometimes. But you got to be careful because this game can go fast, because some of those low mana cost cards, if you got a bunch of them and you can get them down quickly, you're drawing 2 cards each time anyways. You're just playing. It is intense. And you guys need to read this article a little bit more, but that's basically Windfall. It's a completely broken format, but it is a blast, and it's something different. It's something different. You can use your bulk off of it. You can use cards you don't normally use or can't use that aren't good in normal formats. Blast. You guys should try it. If you got any friends that aren't into Magic, it's a great way to introduce them, right? Now, Tiny Leaders. I've only played, I think, once or twice. More than anything, I got, in 2016, 2017, I was so obsessed with Windfall, I never really kind of delve into that much. But Tiny Leaders, it's basically like a brawl, in my opinion. It's my hands are blank, came up with this. Tiny Leaders, 50 card singleton with commanders and color identity like normal ADH, but everything costs less than 3 mana. Everything's 3 mana or less. It can be pretty degenerate sometimes, and he's not lying, because what you find out is a lot of people go with tribal a lot of tribal decks usually have like lower mana cost creatures and spells and whatnot, and so you end up getting a decent amount. And actually, my LGS at the time was playing this on Tuesday because this format got pretty popular. I'm sure some of you have heard of Tiny Leaders. Each player starts with 25 life, just like a brawl. You have a legendary commander that determines your deck's color identity, and you can cast over you can cast over and over. Now we played it so that it didn't have the additional 2 mana to play, but I do think that this is like Brawl or EDH where you are supposed to do that. Your deck size is 50. It's a singleton, except for basic lands. You get the same vintage ban, and the reason they have the bans, but you also have things in addition to this, is because it is like EDH, and a lot of people were playing this. I don't know if they're still playing it, but it does. When I read about this, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. It's super fun, and it even mentions, my mind immediately goes to tribal decks. You can pack a pretty large punch for low mana, and there's plenty of redundancy. How about elves? Yeah, elves are just nasty in this format. I almost think you should outlaw elves, but a lot of tribal is perfect for this format. These are the 5 formats that he talks about in here, and he goes into formatting breaks and everything like that. This was a great article. It actually took me a really long time to find, because when I Googled, formats you hadn't heard, you get all sorts of stuff. And I was like, no, I want the specific one that got me, playing Windfall and stuff like that back in the day. And I haven't played Windfall in a while, but I'll tell you what, it's a blast. So I appreciate it. I highly recommend you try at least one of them. Try Windfall. Oh my gosh. And people that aren't into Magic, they enjoy it too, because you don't really need to know anything. You just have to know how to play cards, and how to, you can choose what you want to use as land. And sometimes the people that are the best at Magic get thrown off, and they overthink things, and so they end up getting beat quite a bit. So don't feel bad if you lose. It's a fun format. So we'll catch you on the next video.